Hey, Taylor Elwood here with the Sacred Masculinity channel. And today I want to talk about a really important topic. And it's not an easy topic to talk about, but I think it's one that we all have to deal with, which is how to recognize when we aren't in integrity with ourselves and by extension with anyone else. Um, I would argue that when you aren't in integrity with yourself, it is very hard. In fact, it's impossible to be in integrity with anyone else because you aren't being fully aligned with your own inner values. And this comes through in your actions and your choices. So, what does it mean to be in integrity with yourself? It means that you're honest about what your wants and needs are, that you're honest about like what you are feeling or experiencing with yourself, but also with other people. And I think it's really important that in order to be in integrity with yourself, you have to necessarily speak up when it comes to other people. Because if you don't, then it's very easy to slip out of integrity. And you can be in integrity in most areas of your life and have one area where you slip up, and that's your shadow. And that's kind of that's the thing that's what you have to pay attention to. And examples of not being in integrity with yourself would be people pleasing, lying, of course, trying to make everyone else happy, not speaking your truth. So these are so concrete examples of these would be like if you're not being honest with yourself or anyone else about something that you want and need, or you're honest with yourself but you're not honest with someone else about what you want and need. That would be an example of not being in integrity. Or going after something that you want but doing it in a way that is sneaky and underhanded. And I share all this with a very simple and true provision, which is I've definitely been that man sometimes, and even on occasion still am now. I'm not proud of that. It's not a good feeling to be out of integrity with myself and with other people. It's something where it feels like shame. It feels it's like you carry a weight with you. And speaking as someone who actually spent a good portion of time being out of integrity with myself and carrying the guilt of that is not a fun experience to go through. It's something that can really weigh you down and crush you in the end. And I say that from personal experience because that was something that happened with me. I wasn't in integrity with myself about specific needs and wants and desires that I had. And this showed up in my marriages, and it harmed those marriages. It harmed my relationships with those people. It harmed me. And none of it was good. Because in the end, it caused a fundamental break in something that occurred because I wasn't speaking my truth. Now, speaking your truth can feel scary. Here I am exposing myself and being honest about something that I want. And it can be scary because it means that people are going to see you and they may judge you, they may reject you, they may do all these other things. But I think a good question to ask yourself, well, a couple of good questions. One good question to ask yourself is, if I truly love myself, how do I want to be showing up? Who do I want to be in relationship to other people and with myself? And another really good question to ask yourself is, what's the consequences and the cost if you don't speak up? Because chances are that the consequences and costs of you speaking up are not going to be as bad as if you don't speak up. I say this again from the experience of haven't been that man where I've definitely made some choices that have had long-term consequences. And I'm not proud of those choices. They've been ones that, I fortunately have done a lot of work around, but I'm still doing work around. I mean, I'm still doing a lot of work around my people-pleasing ways. I don't want to be a people pleaser. It's not a good feeling. It's hard, like when you recognize like this is a weakness that I have. Well, okay, great. Do I really want to be that person? Not really. And I think that really, if we look at this from a few different perspectives, if we look at it from a spiritual component, it's a weakening of your spiritual force and your presence. We look at it from, okay, in this case, we're going to talk about it as, I'm going to talk about in relationship to your journey to the sacred masculine. It's a weakening of being in integrity with yourself as a man and how you want to show up, as a person and how you want to show up. It makes it hard for other people to trust you. And that's a big one. Because when you make mistakes or make choices where you are not in alignment with yourself, fundamentally what you are doing is undermining yourself. And it's not a good feeling. It's not good. It's not good because of how it also affects other people, like the consequences. When someone that you care about and love doesn't trust you, it's like a stab in the heart for that person and you, because there's a fundamental weakening of what you have with that person. And that's not something that just gets changed. You can't reverse course on it. It's not something that just gets fixed. And it can make it really hard to really be in alignment. And at the same time, as I was reminded today by a brother, it's important to be tender with yourself, forgiving of yourself, which is something that I know I struggle with and work hard to do. I've always been, if not my harshest judge, one of them. I think I got it from my dad. And it's so easy to judge yourself and be like, you. And everything, all the things that are wrong with you. And, it's important to remember that this is part of how you become a better person. Getting back into an integrity really means being able to take responsibility for your choices, take responsibility for the consequences, and recognize there may not be an easy solution or an easy fix, but that you do what you need to do to be in alignment. With yourself first and foremost, because you have to be in integrity with yourself. And if you're not in integrity with yourself, it's impossible to be in integrity with anyone else. So, a good exercise or practice can be to say like, well, what is it that I really want or need? What is it I am trying to go for? What am I afraid of? What are my insecurities? All these things, This is all part of the human condition, but it's not something that we talk about as much, and it's important to talk about it. It's important to be present with it. Tomorrow night, I'm going to go to my men's group, and I'm going to share, during an accountability round, kind of like where I feel like I've been out of integrity with myself. And it won't be easy, but it will be healing for me. And This is part of the work that we do to transform our lives and change ourselves. We recognize when and where we have fallen short, and then we take steps to do something about it. And those steps aren't going to be easy. I mean, sometimes they're really challenging, but doing them helps you create a better life for yourself, ultimately, in the end. I would rather be in integrity with myself than not be in integrity. And I say that again as someone who has definitely been not in integrity before. Working on being in better integrity and better alignment with myself. I still have areas where I need to work on it, but I am recognizing that if I don't do it myself, I won't be able to change my life the way I want to change it. And I want to change that. So that's where I have to be willing to do that work, as hard as it may be sometimes. And that's where you may need to do that work. So, if you're watching this and you're kind of like, there's something what this guy's saying, and you feel compelled or drawn to contact me, visit the website that's below here, and schedule a session with me. Let's see if I can't help you also do the work on yourself. All right, thanks, and have a great night.